Okay, that's fine. He's got stuff going on too. All right, so welcome to 2024. Some of us are having a better 2024 so far than others, but I'm not. Well, I've already done the complaining before the meeting. I'm done complaining. My name is Bill. I am currently president of the club. We got John Tulipsky, who is vice president, and we got Ed, who is the treasurer. We do have some treasurer information we're going to throw out tonight. And we're going to make this meeting tonight what we call a town hall meeting, which everybody gets to throw an opinion in. And I'm going to add here as well, there is a special link on the AtlantaRadioClub.org webpage close to the one where you click to get to this meeting. And if you want to make a comment or a suggestion on anything we talk about over the next hour or so, that link will it will frame up and send an email directly to me. And I'll make sure that everything that comes in there gets handled and either put on the groups or added to the page somehow. We're looking to get as much information, much comment as we can from not only club members, but anybody who listens to the meeting. So whether you're listening to it live tonight, like the guys I'm looking at on the screen, or whether you're listening to a recording over the next month or so, feel free to comment, make any kind of suggestions you need to make comments. We're open to about anything we can come up with. The club is facing some challenges at the moment. I don't think there's any secret of that. COVID-19 has knocked a hole in a lot of our activities. It's knocked a hole in a lot of clubs' activities, including meetings. We're not the only club that's having problems finding a meeting location. There are other things in the works. I'm going to go down the list here first. Let's do the announcements we have on there. We got the GARS Tech Fest coming up on the 13th. You guys have never been to Tech Fest, should certainly go. It's a good event. I've been to a couple of them. Unfortunately, that date seems every year to fall on a date when I have another commitment in another place. And true to form, this year I do have a commitment up in Greenwood, South Carolina, even though their Ham Fest has been canceled. I did agree to help with some stuff up there with one of the clubs, so I need to go up on the 13th and be there. I'll miss Tech Fest again. But if you're in the local area, if you're around and you can go to it, you certainly should go to Tech Fest. GARS has done a great job with it. I think they've been doing it for about 15 years now. It gets better every year. That's January 13th, 8 a.m., and I believe it tears down at about 3. Are they doing the chili cook-off again this year? Does anybody know? Yeah, John. Okay, John's got a thumbs up, so they are doing chili. The two times I've been there, I did chili both times, and I didn't regret it, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, and
Uh,
Mark and his wife, K9TOE, they won it last year.
cool for him.
So
Mark is a pretty good guy. Every time we have an outing, he brings us crackers and cookies and things that he does himself. Second on the list of activities coming up is Friday lunch tomorrow. We've moved from Mellow Mushroom in Brookhaven to the Mexican place on Buford Highway, El Proto, I think it is, which means small horse. I looked it up to see what it is. So, but it's actually a pretty nice place. The food is reasonably priced. It's fairly good. And if you can make Friday lunch, certainly make Friday lunch. That's at least one thing that we can keep going, and it is a good place. The service is pretty quick, and they're pretty good, and the food is reasonably good. January 27 and 28. That's I think the last weekend. I don't have a 2024 calendar, but we're going to hit Sweetwater Creek State Park again out in Livonia. It's west of town. We do have two yurts, number 4 and 5, which are very close to the place where we'll set up the radios. Um, Also going to bring a couple of pop-ups and maybe set up some radios on the other side of the road. There's a loop driveway that goes around the building, and that makes it a little tricky to put up some antennas because we can't run coax across the driveway, otherwise it'll get mashed up. But there is an open area on both sides of the driveway where we could put a pop-up, and we do have two yurts, so we could actually use the deck of the yurts as well. The point being that we've got lots of room to spread out. There are restroom facilities right there. We'll have snacks and food. The hot chocolate last year was seen to be a big hit, so and I will be providing a hot chocolate maker and hot chocolate and marshmallows. If you want to add whiskey to your hot chocolate, you got to bring that your own. We can't condone that, but we won't condemn it either. We stay away from the C words. If you want to spend the night, there's a place to sleep. We'll have the 2 yurts. If you don't want to spend the night, you're free to come and go as much as you need during the night. Last year we did stay overnight, though that Sunday morning we got chased off. What was it, about 10:30 or 11 o'clock, John, when it started to storm? Um, in any event, come out and hang around for a while. If you don't want to bring a radio, just come out. We'll get you on something. We'll have enough radios and stuff around. And it's an opportunity to get together and see how portable operations work. Val can do his. Val will have, hopefully has his little radio, though he might have a new one out there operating. And Val can show you how to do the logging now that he knows you got to put time on there as well. Last year we had a time issue last year.
I'm bringing a clock with me this year, Bill.
Yeah. Well, now there was one at the Christmas party and nobody got it, so I brought it back home. I'll bring an extra 24, one of those two-sided clocks. So anyway, it was a lot of fun last year, even though it got kind of cold about midnight or so, and then rainy the next mornings. But beyond that, it was a pretty good time. Does anybody have any other events coming up they need to throw into the calendar real quick? Now's the time.
I don't have another one, but you're out of town, so I take it we're not going to do the weekend or the Sunday thing in the park.
I mean, the second Sunday.
Yeah.
No, I think Tech Fest pretty much covers that.
Okay.
As much as I like doing things in the park as our club activity, there's no point in us competing head to head with something like Tech Fest.
Okay.
And I'd hate to make somebody have to decide between Tech Fest and an outing in the park, so we'll just let Tech Fest win this one. But February is coming up. We got it. That's the other thing I want to throw in. You guys, if you're not into Hamfest, Orlando Hamfest, I think is the 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's somewhere along that second weekend in February. If you're free and you can travel, you certainly want to go to Orlando. It had one bad year, and it actually was the year before COVID. I think everybody suspected that something was coming, and a lot of people showed up, but it was very down. And last year it was booming. The place was crowded. There was people all over. It's certainly worth the 8-hour drive down and back. So if you can go. That's not on our list, but it will be next month. So let's move on. I'm talking way too much. Let's get through
Bill?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Since we'll be in Hamcation on that second Sunday, we'll be most of us will be out of town, so we're gonna have a hard time doing that as a second Sunday also in February.
Yeah, we'll find something maybe the next weekend after on that one. It does seem to sort of coincide, but again, I would hate to put our second Sunday up against Orlando.
Yeah. And also, for those of you that are watching tonight, I have a free ticket to Hamcation. So if you're going and need a ticket, let me know.
Good point. Ed also donated one, which if you need a free ticket, let me know, and Ed can give it to you. Thanks, Ed. All right. So
Hey, Bill,
yeah, go ahead.
remember I gave it to you on that at the lunch about a week ago.
Yes.
I don't have it any longer. You have it.
No, well, it comes from you. I know it.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna make sure that you get credit for it, not me. So
that's okay.
I have a ticket that Ed has donated, so you can thank Ed if you need it.
Yeah, don't want to see it go to waste.
Yeah, I don't want to take credit for your contribution either, Ed. Come on, give me a break here, guys.
Are you going, Ed? Are you going, Ed?
No, I'm getting eye surgery.
Okay.
And I don't feel like it's on my left eye's on the 5th, so I don't think I'll be ready that soon.
We'll just hold your hand over it and drive that way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he wants to be safe, and I get it. But the way I treat Orlando is I go down if I'm not working, I'll leave here on Tuesday and spend Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on the beach. But the way I see it, it's a few days on the beach followed by a Hamfest. And God, you can't get any better than that. All right, again, I'm talking way too much. So let's hit the business points, and then we'll get to the other part. We had an insurance issue sort of pop up. We needed to look at our insurance coverage for the bank tower and the club in general. And as we began to look at that, another issue popped up, and that is the carrier of our insurance policy for a long time decided that they were not going to cover radio clubs anymore. Apparently, their actuarial people can't come up with a good set of odds. They can't price it correctly, and so they decided to get out of the business. Ed has spearheaded the opportunity, this chance to look at a different insurance company. He has looked at the ARRL supplied insurance, which seems to meet probably 3/4 of what we need to do. Ed, do you want to address this, or are we okay?
No, you're good. You're doing a good job. We got the policy signed today for the liability insurance. The only thing we still need to work on is umbrella for the Bank of America tower.
Right. The bank tower has added some more conditions on us being up there. ARRL insurance, the lady he talked to says that she doesn't understand why we need an umbrella policy for that, but the bank says we do. So we need to stay on the bank tower, guys. We need to do what it takes. So we'll get the immediate insurance problem covered now. So it's going to end on March, I think, the 4th. So we're covered now for our outings and Hamfest and whatnot, and then we'll look at this extra coverage for the bank tower. And I have 2 action points from our meeting on this, which I won't go into here, but we do have a path forward to explore how to do what we need. Tech Fest we just mentioned. The other point of business that came up last night that in our pre-meeting was that we've got some membership dues coming up, and some people aren't renewing. They don't know they need to renew. So renewal notices will be going out sometime in the next week. And I'll probably go ahead and send them out for January and for February just to make sure. But if your dues are due, please go ahead and send them in. Don't force me to send a 59-cent postcard. That's just more money we're spending. So
How
if
do we
you
know they do?
ask Ed.
Okay.
That's the easiest way. It's no longer once a year like it used to be. It's annual based on you. And Ed, if you want to hang around after the meeting, I'm sure Ed can bring a spreadsheet up real quick and tell you. But
Bill, I have to go. Sorry, but thank you so much for letting me in.
okay, David, we'll talk to you later.
Take care. Bye.
All right, so that's basically all I had on the required meeting stuff for this evening. We're ready to get into the town hall section. And again, check the link on the page, atlantaradioclub.org. There's a link there. If you're listening to the recording after the fact and you still want to make a comment, that link will be there for a while. Email comes to me, I'll make sure it gets on the Yahoo group or respond to. There will be some kind of response. Every comment will be considered. The challenges that we're currently facing, so let's just go down them in order. The number one is we are looking for a place to have monthly meetings. The Red Cross apparently is not going to be accessible to us anytime in the future. They are reacting to all sorts of things, including COVID-19. So we need to find a location. I've checked out 3 so far that looked promising, and all 3 have turned out to be less than promising when you look at them in detail. It's not that we're putting a lot of requirements or a lot of demands. It's just that it's kind of an odd thing. A lot of people don't know what we're doing. A lot of the businesses in the area, and I've been focusing mainly on restaurants, just aren't aware that we can have 15 or 20 people come in once a month, and they just don't. We can't sell them on the idea of doing that. So let's do a round robin here. Anybody wants to comment? What's your thoughts on a meeting place? Can you think of any place we need to go? Can you think of something besides a restaurant? Honestly, I'm kind of stuck thinking of something like a Golden Corral or one of these restaurants that has a side room that they could basically sort of let us have once a month. But anybody got any suggestions?
Some public libraries have meeting rooms.
Can you think of one in particular we should be looking at?
Cobb County, I think Cobb County has meeting rooms, but you guys are all on the other side of the world.
Yeah, that's probably the problem.
There's a library off of La Vista Road that they have various meetings in a room that's in the library.
Several of the libraries within distance of where we normally meet close too early.
Yeah,
That's been the biggest issue.
yeah. The one on Dresden Road, they said that we could use it, but they could only seat like 8 people or 9 people.
Mhm.
It's more like a conference room than it is a meeting room. And I thought that was a good one because it's right there close.
Yeah,
La
yeah.
Vista Road, where are you? Bob, where at on La Vista Road? Do you know the name of the library? Or I'm sorry, Val?
Yeah, it's the Barbara Lower Library on La Vista Road. It's just inside 285 on La Vista Road, and it's maybe about a mile inside 285 on La Vista. John's point, it may be the time may be the problem. I mean, our past meetings, what do we do? Usually terminate at 9 or so.
Yeah.
And a lot of libraries are on an 8 o'clock closing time, so I don't know what would work with them. But their room, I have been, they'll have little musical groups in there, and I've been in that room where there's 20 or more people in there. They didn't have tables at the time; they just set up chairs, but they do have folding tables in there.
Yeah.
There's another, I don't know if this is a potential, one of the other, I don't know if it was Gwinnett's Cigars or whoever, when they had those little mini swap fest out in Tucker. There's a rec center in Tucker, which is it's a former elementary school, and it's got a lot of room in it. I don't know if there's any potential with that.
That'd be the Alfred Club with their tailgate they've been doing the last 2
Yeah,
years.
it's their tailgate place. Yeah.
That's outdoors though, right?
No, they've got an indoor building.
I've been there.
That's a potential target.
They've got a huge auditorium in there and several rooms in it.
Oh yeah, just inside the building was big enough near the kitchen. I mean, there's plenty of room at that place.
Right.
The facility that I'm a member of the Southeastern Antique Radio Association, and we have ours in the Roswell Community Center, and it's a really nice place. One of the guys in the club arranged for us to get that. I don't know if that's a possibility too. That's maybe a little bit too far out for some folks.
Yeah, I would like to stay in Atlanta proper, as around Brookhaven or
Yeah.
somewhere. But honest to God, most of our members now are north of town.
Yeah.
So
Our community association meets in they get a space. There's a Presbyterian church right on Shallowford Road near Briarcliff, and we have our monthly meetings in a room there. I don't know if that's scheduled through one of the people that's part of the community association and the church.
well, it certainly wouldn't hurt to ask. Can you get the name of the church or some contact information?
I can check with the community association president and find out how they go about getting that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll make a note of that one. I got 2 here I can chase down tomorrow or this coming week sometime. Like I say, I've been focusing on the restaurants because in my head I have a picture of a golden corral with one of those accordion doors that they can close, and we just take over one of the section of the dining room once a month. I know groups do that. Go ahead, John.
Church
Somebody's talking, but they're breaking up.
has some really nice meeting spaces in it.
All right, somebody's talking, but it's breaking up pretty bad. Is that you, John? Or is it me? Uh-oh, we lost John. Oh, let's give John a second to come back. Like I say, I've been thinking about Golden Corral. I even approached the one out here in Duluth just to see if the guys would laugh at me when I talked to him. And he seemed to understand what we were after. Said if we could guarantee at least 15 people, he'd be okay, divvying off one section of the room. But that's 2 or 3 miles north of me. That's way out. So I'm not sure that's kind of location we need.
There's one located at the intersection of Lawrenceville Highway and Druid Hills.
Golden Corral.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that one, but I'll certainly check it out. I figure I'll spend next week just hitting some of these things and seeing what comes up.
Yeah, that's what, before we went to the Roswell Community Center, that's where we met in one of those places that is actually way the heck up north of Atlanta, but they gave us the room. And then of course, guys came in there and got a meal and then had the meeting.
Yeah. There was a former one there in Brookhaven, not too far from Oglethorpe College, which has become an Asian fusion restaurant. And I talked to that guy, and he made it pretty clear that he didn't see any reason why he should divvy off part of his dining room on a Thursday. And it just made me wonder if Thursday's some kind of special day for them already or something. But it's like he just dismissed it. It wasn't like we even talked about it. He just sort of blew it away. So I was hoping to find a little more friendly reception, but what the hell? You go with what you got.
What about Petrie to Cab Airport where we do the VE sessions? I don't know how many people that room will hold.
We actually looked at that, Bob, and the thing is we can get it, but not every Thursday.
Oh, okay.
They want to give it to us like every once in a while. And it was Rob actually approached me. I was kind of hoping he would be here. Rob actually approached them and they were okay with it. But we're already using it for VE testing. We're already geared up to start using it for the second Sunday after the VE testing. And I really think it's not a bad location. The only thing is it's really hard. You've been up there. You got to climb those steps. And I think there is an elevator at the far end of the building down there somewhere, but I'm not sure if
they have a ramp. They have a handicap ramp.
Yeah, they got that wheelchair thing that goes up through there. It seems like there's an elevator down there somewhere, if I remember, but it's like at the other end of the building. So access was the only thing I was worried about. And then it come find out we can't use it every Thursday, every month anyway. So I would rather have something we can stay in for a while. We're going to outgrow it, I hope. But I don't want to get in something and be there 3 months and then move. All right. All right, so we got a couple of things to look at here, and that's really good. And again, if you're listening to this meeting later on the recording and you can think of something somewhere local, we want to stay close inside the perimeter, not too far outside the perimeter, something that's easy to get to. If you can think of something, give me a good suggestion. Hit the link on the webpage and send a message and let us know. We'll look at anything we can look at this point. We really want to get back to doing in-person meetings. It's important to, the hobby itself is people talking on the radio, but the actual physical eyeball to eyeball meeting is an important thing. And lunch, as good as it is, doesn't fill that. Any other comments on that before we move on to the next point? All right, cool. I'm looking for some linked messages coming up. We are doing a second Sunday in the park, and one of the things that came out of our discussion a couple of months ago was that people wanted to see the second Sunday technical sessions crank up again. It's not a huge amount of work once it's rolling, but getting it started, I remember the first time I did it, it was a lot of work getting it started. And the reason why I had to step away from it is my mom got ill. And once I couldn't reliably be there every second Sunday. And as I stepped away from it, I found that nobody was willing to step in and cover the odd month. And so it just sort of died. The club has made an effort to bring it back to life a couple times, but nobody seems to want to put the time into it that it takes to get it started. Once it's started, it rolls along pretty good. So that's on my to-do list, and I am ashamed to admit I have done very little work on it other than We talked to Lane, Rob did, and Lane is okay if we start the second Sunday session after the testing ends at 2 p.m. And that sounds about right. So as soon as I can come up with at least 2 or 3 people willing to present, we're going to crank that up. And at this point, I'm thinking February. I'm still shooting for February, even though that sort of runs in and around the Orlando Hamfest. If you've got any ideas of presentations you would like to see as part of the second Sunday technical session, hit the link and send them. You guys on the meeting here tonight, what kind of technical things do you think we should cover in the second Sunday tech sessions? This is the point where everybody gets to make a recommendation.
I
But
think
not-
when we stopped them, and Val, correct me if I'm wrong, we were doing a AM radio receiver, if I recall correctly.
Mhm.
I probably still have the parts order somewhere. But building, I mean, I joined the Atlanta Radio Club because I built my first QRP radio at Second Sunday.
Oh, you're the guy. Okay.
Guilty
Yeah,
part.
it was actually pretty cool because the first 3 or 4 that I did, and I started them in November, were a struggle to try to come up with something. And then once people realized that, what we were doing, it's like I started getting recommendations. And I mean, I had people volunteering, like you said, to come in and oversee the building of a kit or oversee soldering sessions and that kind of thing. A lot of those people are gone now. They've moved on or gone out of the way. Bob, what in particular would you like to do other than build another AM receiver? What kind of kits would you be interested in?
QRP, always QRP radio is always good, although I guess to get us started, we probably can't do anything like a Pixie in one session, but something to get us started. Winding toroids is always a good thing that people always struggle with.
Right.
And also little instruments for testing.
QRP
testing.
stuff.
Huh?
QRP stuff.
Well, just general testing. I'm trying to think. I built something for attenuating, so I could use test signals into a spectrum scope. But little things like that you can do in an hour or so.
Okay.
QRP. Oh, some of the QRP sites. I can't think of them offhand. But there are a couple of QRP sites that have little things you can build. You can build off-center fed antennas or little things like that. That can be. I'm trying to think. I'm not getting a big recall on it, but I'll think more about it.
Okay. Well, yeah, hit the link and let me know if you think of anything.
Yeah.
We built, as I remember, we did build a couple of small kits. We built that fox hunting antenna, which was a kit that I had gotten out of Ohio, which turned out to be just a PIA trying to deal with that guy because he wouldn't take a money order, he wouldn't take cash, and if he had a personal check, he's going to hold it for a month before he did anything. And it's like, what if I send you a cashier's check? Oh, no, I don't want that around the house. I'll get robbed. Like, man, come on, Of course, now you can transfer the money directly, right? Okay, that's again, we might scale back. We might have to scale back on the number of park outings we're doing because they're also on the second Sunday. So we've got some competition between things we're working on. We used to do 10 sessions a year, and then twice a year we would do an outing in the park. And one of them was always on Mother's Day, and the other one was always in October. And I don't recall why we picked October. Don't remember, but we did 2 outings a day. How many of you guys actually come? I would like to see everybody here. How many of you guys actually come to the outings in the park that we're doing on the second Sunday of each month? Is it a worthwhile thing to do?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we need to
Yep.
figure out how to continue doing them. So So far, we've been sort of hanging around the Brook Run Park in Dunwoody because it's kind of central to where everybody is. But I'm just going to throw this in the mix while we're talking. If you can think of another location you'd like to try, well, let's just put it that way. Can you think of a location you'd like to try other than Brook Run Park?
I don't know. I think Brook Run's got ideally everything you really need, short of a generator. Trees for an antenna and a nice shed to hang out under. I think it's a perfect location myself. Of course, I'm only 2-3 miles away from it, so it makes it easy for me.
We have some people that have trouble getting up that hill. They complain about the hill. I know hauling a cart up through there, I wouldn't want to haul 2 or 3 cart loads up. But on the other hand, once you're up there, you're right. It's covered, and we've been up there in the rain and not had any issues. There's another park I've noticed over in oh God, I can't think where it is now. It's over near Doraville somewhere. There's a park back that I've been eyeballing and thinking it might be a secondary location. We tried Benny Allen, if you remember, just off of Peachtree once before, and that seemed to work pretty good. It's a long park down through there. But everybody seems to like Brook Run, except a few people have trouble getting up the hill. So,
Bill, what was that park that we did 1 or 2 events from? It was I think it was in Gwinnett County or very northern part of DeKalb County, off of the road that the big UPS place is at.
Lucky Shoals.
That's probably it. Yeah, it was pretty good. I don't think there was a long walk from the parking lot to the tables we were at.
No, and we used to have a relationship with the park manager out there where if we would make a donation to a local charity, and we're talking $50 or $75, and would prove to him that we had made such donation, he would just give us the pavilion overnight. He'd actually sign it up for us for 2 days. We used to do the Georgia QSO party there for that reason. We could actually get that pavilion for 2 days. But he's gone now, and I noticed the last person I talked to a couple of years ago is like, "Oh no, you can't be in the park overnight." Absolutely not. So 11 p.m. is the shutdown, which I don't see as a real problem because most of these things we do by 11 p.m. people are ready to go home anyway. So,
well, they have a problem with crime, so I understand why they don't want people out there overnight.
Yeah. Well, we had permission to do that once before. As long as the cops know, it's okay. But the new guys not. I'll make a note on there that you're interested in Lucky Shows. It is a good location. I mean, I liked it. I like Brook Run too.
Yeah, Brook Run's fine.
The other park's on Dresden. I was trying to think of the name. It's Dresden Park.
Yeah, the only issue with the Dresden one is to get to the spot where you have to set up your equipment. You can't park real near to the place where you would do that.
Okay.
That one gets pretty crowded by weekend. They've got huge soccer fields there, and you get a lot of people in there playing soccer there.
Yeah, that's kind of the issue with Brook Run as well. We're close to that tree thing. The zip line and the parking becomes a real issue up in there, though John has found a partial solution to it.
Yeah, I'm like Dick. The centrality of Brook Run and the fact that you've got close restrooms and that sort of thing, and the covered. It was, even when it was cold that weekend when we were out there, it was nice under the shelter there.
Okay, so we'll leave Brook Run we'll leave it as the primary site for the moment. And I guess we're kind of jumping far ahead here, but field day is only 6 months away. And where we set up in the same park, but down there closer to the restrooms for field day. John, are we going to do the same thing this year, you think? Sorry, guys, I'm still coughing.
I don't see why not, unless there's I mean, the overnight thing is obviously been an issue, so it'd be like a 1-day event there.
Yeah. Do we want to see if we can find a place where we can set up field day overnight? Do we need to put effort into doing that? That goes to the people in this meeting, and anybody's listening later can comment. would you be interested in doing a 24-hour field day all night somewhere?
I vote yes.
I
I think
second.
it's worth looking at.
Okay. So that would mean finding a location.
Where's
Right.
the winter field day gonna be?
Oh, hey, Rob. I was kind of concerned that you weren't here.
I woke up.
I'm sorry. I'm still coughing, guys. I don't have a calendar right here in front of me, but it's the last full weekend in June, maybe.
27th and 28th.
But we got one coming up this month, right?
That's Winterfield Day.
Yeah, that too.
Same place as last year.
Did you come out last year, Rob, to the extreme western bounds of the Atlanta metro area?
Yeah, I visited you guys out there, and yeah, I started getting frostbite. But it was
Nah, come on, it wasn't that bad.
you guys had it. Yeah, you had a good setup there with the yurts, and I know you said you have it better this year.
Yeah, they're closer. There was a whole family, and they had grabbed all but two of them. So I had one right there next to where we were, and the other was way down at the far end. And they made a big deal about the fact, oh, we grab them up early. No, they haven't this year. June 22nd, 23rd is the actual field day. I'm almost thinking. Well, I mean, Brook Run is kind of the go-to location for us, but we could also consider Sweetwater Creek or even Fort Yargo because they have yurts out there for our regular field day, even though that's getting kind of far out. Anyway, we got time to think about that. Oh yeah, my thing is talking to me over here. I don't know if y'all can hear that or not. Okay. So we'll make a note on field day. Do we want to do 24-hour? We'll readjust that later. I'm making notes here as we go. Anybody got any suggestions or comments on other outings besides the second Sunday, winter field day, and regular field days? Anything else? Georgia QSO party, we usually set up and do something, but it's usually, as far as I'm concerned, one day because on Sunday I go somewhere else. I assume that there is interest in doing Georgia QSO party this year, 2024. Yes, no?
I just assumed we were going to do it again at Brook Run
Okay.
for a day.
Doesn't hurt to go ahead and get the thoughts out there on it. Georgia QSO party runs on the first day from 2 p.m. till midnight. And on the second, which actually fits pretty good for us because we get there about noon and we're tearing down about 11. And on the second day, I think it goes from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., 10 hours, 2 days. So Saturday and Sunday both. And I don't see a reason why we can't do Saturday. Sunday, I always go down to Wilkinson County, but the club usually throws something together and it has a second day anyway. So Georgia QSO party's in the works. We'll put it down and start planning something for it. Anything else? Anybody can think of any other outing, public event, anything we need to be considering doing in advertising? Oh.
I'm thinking about it. I just wanted to say that during the testing, when someone, actually most of the people, especially the techs, when they get their new license, it really helps to be able to say to them, now that you get your license, I know you want to try and get on and you may not know what you're doing, but there's something going on right now. And even if it wasn't, right after, but the fact that we have something going right now, or I can tell them to go to start getting experience and meeting people, that always, I always get a good reception to that.
So should we push that somehow, Rob? Should we mention when we do see, whenever I publish something like that, I always say, hey, if you're new, come hang out. If you don't have a radio, we got radios. If you do, bring your radio, we'll get it on the air. I try to make it as inclusive as I can. Do we want to mention that as part of our testing? Or as part of Lane's testing, I guess? Make it more official rather than just mentioning it.
Yeah, I only get a copy of it. You know, Lane hands out ARC stuff at the testing,
Right.
and it's general, and some of it is old. But I try and tell people, you know, what's going on. In fact, I asked Lane about that. I said, can I, you know, get a whiteboard or something? Can I put something up for here's what the ARC's got going on, so people can see that on the way out?
Right now, today.
And he
kind of
said,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. As long as he's okay with it, I'm fine. I know that the QCWA people, the net now, they move it around as through the year. Right now it's at 3 p.m. And I noticed there was the year before last during COVID, it was a joke. Every time I would check in, it's like, well, where's Bill this week? Because I was never operating from home. And now it turns out we've had so many new hams come in and make their first or second HF contact on that net that it's like as soon as I say, hey, I have a new ham here, the net basically stops and everybody gets all excited because they got a new guy coming in. It was kind of embarrassing the last time when Lynn was there, because it's like they did everything but offer to send him money. It was pretty good. He felt Lynn's not here tonight, but he felt sort of honored, I guess, the fact that they were making such a big deal over him making his first HF contact on the net.
The last one, I sent somebody up there, or somebody said he was going up there right after testing, and I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
In fact, I told him to seek out you. Yeah, so I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, both Bill and I spent some, actually Bill spent some time with him.
Oh yeah, I had forgotten. It's been a while. I've forgotten about that. That's right. But it works out pretty good. It's always nice to get people started right, even though, yeah, that's right. I'd forgotten about that. Okay, so we're good with that. Field day, we got something for field day. Lucky Shows, we'll look at something for Lucky Shows. Val, I know it's a good locale. I like it. But then it's closer for me than it is for some people. Bob, I got your comments down on second Sunday stuff we can build. So let me start seeing what I can put together. And I'll be honest with you, I have been totally lazy, focused on these other issues that we were dealing with. Did anybody have any else they want to throw in on outings or events that we need to look at? So far, we've got Winter Field Day, regular Field Day, Georgia QSO Party. Anything else that you can think of?
Antenna build.
Do we need to have a specific antenna build session?
Last time we just did it on one of our outings at the park, and that was fine. It's either way.
Yeah, we did the dipoles in the park, but there are a bunch of nice other antennas that I kind of see on. I get Pinterest. Is it Pinterest?
Right.
Pinterest feeds every day, and normally one of the feeds has like all kinds of nifty little antennas to build for VHF and UHF and HF. So like there's a whole bunch of little things there. I'll make a note of it, and those are the kind of things we can always have build. Wire. The latest one I saw was a clone of the Elecraft KX1 that's just like a lot of magnet wire on a base, but things like that.
Oh, you mean a base loaded antenna?
Yeah.
Would you be willing? Okay, so when we do the dipoles, I've already got the kits put together and all the blocks and stuff, and so because I do it for a couple of Boy Scout troops up in North Carolina. Would you be willing to take the lead on this and be like the session leader for an antenna build of that sort, Bob?
Open my mouth too much.
No, I'm serious.
Let me look and find some ones that are reasonable to build or to almost complete in an hour session.
Okay, that's fair.
Or how long did those second Sunday sessions last? Do you remember, Val?
Anywhere to an hour to a little over an hour, usually the ones that I went to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they were longer than that.
Yeah, we had
Were
some.
they?
We had some early on, Bob, that went for 3 or 4 hours, but my thinking was at the end of about 4 hours, people are pretty much, even if they're having fun, they're pretty much funned out.
Yeah,
So-
but I think, going from 12 to 4 for those of us who were doing the VE also, that's a long time to go without any nourishment.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, if you come up with something that you think is doable in an hour or hour and a half, and if it runs over a little bit and the person is having fun doing it, or they're slow and they run over, we can run over a little bit. See what you can come up with. If you've got something, let's see if we can make it happen.
Okay.
Right. And I can tell you, having done this a bunch of times now for the last 3 or 4 years, the first one's kind of stressful because you're not quite sure if you've got everything in a row. But it is immensely rewarding to see somebody build an antenna, tune it, and get it on the air and use it for the first time. They get an antenna they like that they built with their own hands. And I can tell you, as somebody who runs those sessions, it is immensely rewarding knowing that somebody's walking out there having done something they thought they could never do.
Okay, I'll go and look up some stuff.
All right. So I'll put
One thing-
you on the list. Go ahead.
One thing you might consider, since I've noticed on the especially on the net that a lot of the hams that are new to the club, or just a lot of them, the club members in general, are to only use HTs, and the HT is usually the first purchase that a new ham makes.
Okay.
So a J pole is, I mean, there's a whole number of different ways to make a J pole, and most of them are pretty easy. So a J pole might be a good choice, and the other one might be a tape measure Yagi, because they're not too difficult to build either.
Seems
And
like
pretty cheap.
Seems like we did those once before as part of the second Sunday. And I know Billy, KB4KFT, put together a 3-element 440 beam that he actually put together the kit to build it. And what he used, instead of using tape measures and things, he used the rods for soldering, because they're dirt cheap and they're pretty stiff and they're easy to work with. So that's something to think about. Bob, throw that on your list. Maybe your first one could be a J pole or some sort of small beam.
You should be able to draw one on paper, right, with a pencil, and that's conductive, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking. I mean, we don't want to try to build a log periodic or some complex antenna design here. Something simple that somebody can do, and actually we can put it on the analyzer, we can tune it, and they can make a contact on it.
I'll tell you what we
that's
can
the key.
build. We can build ground plane 2-meter antennas out of tell people to bring wire hangers, and we can make ground plane and get the connectors. We can have the club can buy the connectors, and we can build 2-meter ground plane antennas for your HT.
You mean those SO239 connectors?
Yeah.
Oh, I've probably got, as some of our Hamfest vendors were going out of business or stopping the Hamfest, I started buying up their supplies of those things. I probably got 300 of them laying around the house.
Okay.
So wire hangers would be the key.
Well,
let me ask you, Bob.
A wire hanger.
Let me ask you, just throw this out here. How much would you be willing to pay to build such a kit? If I said, hey, it's going to cost this amount of money, we'll supply the parts, it's going to cost you this much money on the day of the build, what's the max you think that you would pay to do that?
I think it's going to depend on what we're building. I'm building a QMX now. I mean, that's like 70. I think I pay about $70 for it. It depends on what kind of kit you're building and what kind of market you're trying to get in to participate.
That's fair. I'm thinking about these antennas you're talking about, the SO239 with the wire coat hangers. You think $5 would be too much to pay for the parts?
just for the SO239.
And the wire.
SO239, you tell people to, I mean, I think part of the excitement of that is like bring a wire hanger from home.
Okay.
That's part of the excitement of that kind of thing to say. I mean, I've got a bunch of them around my basement. And when I want to show stuff off the hams, I say, look, this is, I built this out of a wire antenna, and that's impressive. Out of a wire hanger, that's impressive. So you tell them to bring their own hanger.
Okay.
We'll provide the connectors. They bring their own hanger.
Okay. I'll make a note.
Yeah.
If you decide to do that, then that's exactly the way we'll push it. You know, you bring the hanger, we'll supply the odd stuff. You bring the hanger. And the other trick is there'll have to be some soldering involved, so there'll be some soldering lessons involved as well.
Yeah.
That sound fair?
Yeah, fair. That's good enough.
Cool, Bob. That sounds good. All right, we get you on the books, say for March or April.
The soldering sessions I know were popular, you know, on the second Sundays.
Yeah, the issue is we've got to get somebody to teach one, and I've already talked to a couple of people. And one of the guys I talked to that I used to work with, he says, "Oh yeah, we can start out blah 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 blah." I said, "No, we got to be much simpler than that. You know, stick two pieces of wire together with a piece of solder so it doesn't fall apart when you pick it up. You know, that's where you want to start. You don't want to start building, you know, surface mount components." So I'm, you know who I'm talking about. I basically was talking to him about doing the first one, but I had to sort of, I'm trying to talk him into not trying to, you know, build computer circuits day one. But that's fine, because, you know, at some point maybe we will build computer circuits. We had Mike O'Banion, KB4SGN, did the very first session, and it was a soldering session. And he started with, how do you clean the tip of your soldering iron? How do you clean it? That's where he started, which I thought was perfect. So I'm looking for somebody who can do that. I haven't found anybody yet who's willing to, and Mike's not available, I don't think, anymore. All right, so that's the way we'll push it, Bob. When you're ready to go with it, we'll supply the SO239. You bring the hanger, bring your own hangers, metal, not plastic, and then I'll make sure I have some hangers just in case, because somebody's going to show up plastic hangers. You know that. And I've got a box of soldering irons and solder and stuff, so we've got the material we need to do it. So that could actually be the first one, Bob, we end up doing.
We could do a lawn chair.
Do a lawn chair.
Yeah, they can bring a lawn chair and we light it up like on the fringe antenna.
Yeah, like I tried to load up my gutters. You mentioned something, Bill. What about a session on surface mount soldering? That's something I'd love to learn. I don't know if anybody else has any interest in.
I approached somebody about doing that once before, and again, we're going back when second Sunday sessions were first going on. SGN talked about doing it. Mike and George talked about doing one, and the guy from Norfolk, I can't think of his name right offhand, Mac McCormick, he talked about coming over and doing one. The approaches were radically different. EHM uses a heat gun, which you basically put the flux on, you put the parts on, you take a heat gun and you heat it, and when the flux melts, everything just settles. EHM was using a heat gun. I think Mike O'Banion uses a toaster oven. And I forget how Mac was going to do it, but it turned out that it didn't seem something practical to do in a room with 15 people trying to figure out how to do it for the first time. So I sort of backed away from that. I don't want to have a session that is guaranteed to fail. And it seemed like all of those were so technique heavy that they would fail. So keep it simple at first. All right. Hey, we get some good ideas here.
Soldering is a good place to start because it's anything you want to do after that, it's going to involve soldering.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why the very first session, the very first one we did way back then was SGN doing and he started out with, how do you clean the tip of your soldering iron? What kind of soldering iron do you need? What kind of solder? And he actually brought some stuff for us to glue together. And then from there, we went on and built the Fox Hunt kits and the QRP kits and the coax and connector sessions, which is basically building SO239s and 259s, and they were always popular, but you got to have a foundation for them before you get there.
It was always good watching you use the blowtorch to put.
Yeah, there's a lot of pain in doing it correctly the third time. Yeah, I burnt the end off my thumb, Bob, doing it one time. I was showing somebody how to roll the thing through the flame, and I turned to look at them, and when I did, I moved my thumb and I burnt the end off my left thumb. And oddly enough, it didn't even hurt. A self-cauterizing wound.
Okay, guys, I gotta run. Sorry about that, but I'll check the video for the balance of this session.
Okay, that sounds good. And
Okay.
we got your email. I'll reach out to you, and if you need any help setting this up, let me know. We want it to be a success, and want to have fun doing it too.
Okay, and Ed, I left you my number in the chat. Ed?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
You said Saturday's a good day for you?
No, Sunday. Anytime.
Oh,
I'm gonna be
Sunday.
down-
You
I'm
got?
gonna
Are you gonna
down for
be?
second?
You gonna
I'm
be
gonna
at
be down-
Peachtree to Cab?
Huh?
You gonna be at Peachtree to Cab on Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just run it by there.
Okay. I'll be there from 12. Well, I'll be there for the VE session, so I'm there from like 12 to 2.
Oh, okay. That's
Okay.
simple. I'll just stop by and drop it off.
If you come at 2, I'll buy you lunch.
Oh, you don't need to do that, but anyway.
Okay. There's a nice place near there. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Nice
Bye,
seeing you.
Bob.
All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Bob.
Okay.
All right, so we're at the 1 hour mark here, pretty much. What other topics do we need to bring up tonight? We're sitting here trying to figure out how to do Second Sunday. We spent most of the time on that, and the outings we've got working on. And I think Bob had some good ideas. I've heard some really good ideas. The antenna build, it's time to do another one. The Georgia QSO party is still 4 months away, but we can start talking about that. Field day is 6 months away, but we kind of know what we want to do. We just need to start letting people know we're going to do it. Any other topics we need to bring up for tonight with the group here?
I was going to say for Second Sundays, DMR or maybe general antenna programming. I mean, general HT programming, 8-dimension HTs. Have a session. And they did that at didn't they do they did it at Tech Fest, I think. You bring a radio and we'll get a program. We're running chirp, and I brought my Baofeng and stumped them, but it looked like it was popular with everybody else. Plus, the DMR code plugs. That was one thing I know people were asking for Stone Mountain. I think that's why Jeff had that workshop there.
I think that's probably a good idea, because I know that I've done one-on-one DMR programming. It's been a while since I thought that GMRS might be the other thing coming up. They got that North Georgia group now, so let me put that on the list here. Things to think about doing DMR programming for a second Sunday session. I'm a little resistant to the idea of saying, bring your radio, we'll program it for you. I would much rather the person walk out there knowing how to do it rather than knowing who to ask to do it.
Yeah.
You don't want to brick somebody's radio and then go, sorry, I blew your radio up.
Well, I had the other issue, though. I spent an afternoon with the guy showing him how to program his radio, went through every detail, and I'd done it several times, so I had it pretty much down. And the idea was, now your radio works. It's working simplex. We've got 2 repeaters in there. When you get to where you're going, all you got to do is do what we did for these 2 for the next repeater, and it will work every time. It's no problem. Cut and paste, copy. And what he did was he went down there, he downloaded a code plug from somebody. It didn't work. He emailed it to me and said, with the email, and all the email said was, fix it.
I mean, they're so touchy. I had one stop working because I had I had it set for European instead of American setting inside it was one of, it was a handy talk.
Oh yeah, the frequency range.
You change one thing wrong and it just stops working.
That's why when we do the sessions, I like to make sure that they can hit a local repeater, that they can do simplex. At that point, every one of these code plug editors, no matter how bad they are, you do have a limited copy and paste facility. So once you get one working, you can copy, you can paste it, and then change the frequencies, and you don't have to touch all that other stuff. All right, Rob, we'll put that on the list, DMR programming. Anything else? We're coming up on we're a little bit past an hour now. Anything anybody else wants to throw into this that's in the group right now? Here's a chance. Anything at all? Town hall meeting, anything? Stephen's been awful quiet. Stephen?
Well, I mean, I think that all of these are good ideas. I'm tend to focus primarily on the repeater system. The only thing I would say about the repeater system is maybe at some point, maybe reconnecting the corner beams and seeing if we can get more coverage to the east and to the west. That might bring more people in on the northeast side where y'all are.
You mean the corner beams, the 220 antennas?
Those aren't 220 antennas. Those are 2 meters.
Okay. Yeah, I remember looking at one of them when I was up there a couple of years ago, and it looked like it was falling apart. The other,
they're probably not in all that good shape.
yeah, we did have the prospect a couple of years ago of having somebody who had access to tower climbers and bonded people who could work on our antennas, but it didn't quite work out where we could do that. So we kind of lost, and Andy doesn't come around much anymore. He's the guy who was bonded, used to go up there and do all that stuff. So we need
Right.
somebody needs to crawl out that beam and futz with the antenna. There's a lot of stuff needs to be futzed with up there. So
Yeah, I think
right.
the biggest thing we can do is get the insurance issue straightened out, and then at some point there are some things that need to be corrected up there, but I think that's in the process of being worked on.
We're working on the insurance. The insurance stuff is in the process of being handled. You were on earlier, but we've got, let's call it, insurance phase 1 is handled. Now we're thinking about phase 2, what we can do with that. Okay, Stephen, we got you on the books there. Anything else? Anybody got anything they want to throw in?
Yeah, if anybody knows a good insurance broker that can help us find umbrella policy, liability policy as a rider to what we purchased today, please send them my way or Bill's way or John's way or Val's way or Rob's.
Absolutely. There is a link next to the Zoom link for this meeting. And I assume when the recording of this meeting comes out that it'll be in the same general area where you can click the link and send a message. Any comments, suggestions, anything you want to throw in. It's a town hall meeting, so we'll accept anything from anybody, club member or not. Hit the link and let us know what you think. If you've got an idea, if you've got a suggestion, as Ed says, if you have a name of somebody who we could refer to, an insurance person, that would be great. The more expertise we can refer to, the better. That's the way I look at it. And we are at this point trying to address the challenges. The number one challenge is finding an in-person meeting place that's suitable. And the second thing was the second Sunday tech sessions they want to crank up again, and we need to find out what people are interested in and start throwing some things together. And then we've got the outings coming up, QSO party, field day, winter field day, a couple other things in the works. And again, I'm going to go back and say to the people who are listening to this recording after the fact, there is a link next to the Zoom where you get this meeting. And there are also, I guess, Rob, you just stick one next to where the recording is that will link to the email. Make your comments, send them to us. Nothing is too silly. Nothing is too out in left field, and we will certainly throw them in the list of things that need to be addressed. The club is a club for the members, and if the club is not doing what the members want, then it doesn't really serve a function. And as we try to recover from COVID-19 and the effects, you know, we're having some challenges, but we're trying to work through them. This year we're going to have a ham fest. We're looking for a meeting place, and we're looking for these in-person things like Second Sunday, We've been doing outings in the park now for more than 2 years. They seem to be working well. We've got some new locations and new ideas for those antenna bills and whatnot, which I think we can probably push that coming up pretty soon. It is time to do another antenna bill, but we'll see what Bob comes up with on something other than dipoles. Anything else? And if it's not, I say we pull the plug on the meeting for this month and head for February.
I got a question.
Sure,
I
Abe.
came in late, so you may have already covered this. The guy that wrote asking for Aries,
Oh, yeah.
for permission to run an Aries net.
We got him first thing.
Did anybody respond to him?
We got him first thing.
Okay.
So he should be okay, I think.
All right. Very good.
This is also the same young man that was going to put us in touch with the Scoutmaster about perhaps using their scout hut as a meeting place and then doing activities with their troops. So that's something that's still kind of in the works as well. And that would be great if the club could find some way to help a Boy Scout troop and Girl Scouts, or I don't know if there's even a difference anymore. But it'd be nice if we could get some sort of public outreach thing going, because we are a special services club. Thanks,
Hey
Abe.
guys, I gotta go ahead and jump out.
Okay, we're coming to the end anyway. We're at an hour and 15 minutes. That's probably about enough. If we were actually at the Red Cross Center, they'd be back there, stand the door looking at us by now. Anything else, guys? Anything we want to throw in? Going once, twice. All right, we're done. It's good seeing everybody here tonight. At least we've got the core group of important people. Hey, Val. Hey, Dick. I got to get a camera because nobody connect. I'm the voice in the darkness over here.
Oh, I thought you were just suppressing your image.
I actually loaned my camera to Deborah. I had a better camera than she had. And when she was working over here, she was using my camera, and she said, "Can I take it on a trip when I have to go out of town?" I said, "Sure." And I didn't realize that loaning meant giving. So I need to get one. But all you can see behind me is I've got a rack full of 3 or 4 radios, the FTDX10 sitting here behind me, and I need a haircut. That's what would show up on the.
Hey, Bill, I need to
video.
borrow your Yaesu,
Which Yaesu?
the big one you got.
I've got him factory reset. I just got it on an antenna for the first time
Okay.
today. So
Can I borrow it?
not today. I don't know that it's going to actually, it's going to end up in the park, no question. But it is physically bigger than the 710, and I'm not sure I can put it in the same kind of box along with the antennas and stuff that I normally carry. So it may actually begin to form the core of a new carry group. So I sound like a damn Navy here. It would be the new box with the surrounding boxes of antennas and stuff. But it's a nice radio. It does have one thing, since the meeting's over. It does not have an auto notch. You know what I'm talking about, auto notch.
Yeah.
It does not have one. The 710 does. The bigger brother does not. You got to actually hit the button and turn the knob. All right. And once again, we're going to end the meeting. Once again, if you're listening to this recording and you've got some comments you'd like to throw in, particularly on the Second Sunday stuff, meeting places, insurance people, you just listened to the recording, hit the link and send us an email. Nothing is too silly. Nothing is too far out in left field. The club the purpose of the club is to serve its members. And the purpose of the club is to serve anybody who would like to be a member. So if you're interested, let us know what you think and we'll react to it. And that's it as far as I'm concerned. If nobody has anything else, I say we pull the plug and do whatever radio stuff. I'm going to have the DX10 on the air here about 10 minutes after the meeting's over. See y'all at lunch tomorrow.
Where will you be on the air?
I don't know yet. I'm good on 20 and 40.
No.
You want me to text you? Well, we're too close for 20.
I'll hear you. I'll hear you.
Okay. I'll send you a text message in a few minutes and tell you where I'm at.
QSL. Thanks.
You be my first contact on the new radio. All right, guys.
7-3.
QSL
card for that.
You get the same one I give everybody. Have the GPS coordinates and DeKalb, or not DeKalb, Gwinnett County on it.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to hit the leave button, guys. We'll see y'all at lunch tomorrow if I'm walking.
See you later.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Good night,
Take
everyone.
care, guys.